Welcome to today's story time. This is Mr. Boggs at the Bell Memorial Public Library in Mentone, Indiana. Winter is here. Today, we are going to visit a little boy whose name is Thomas. Thomas seems to not like wearing his snowsuit. Do you have a snowsuit? Do you like wearing it? This is what happens when Thomas sees the new snowsuit his mother has bought for him. Thomas's Snowsuit. Story by Robert Munsch. Art by Michael Marchenko. From the Annick Press, Toronto, New York, and Vancouver, 1985 and 2015. To Otis and Eric Wine in Halifax, Nova Scotia, who helped me make up this story. And to Danny Munch. Thomas's Snowsuit. One day, Thomas's mother bought him a nice new brown snowsuit. When Thomas saw that snowsuit, he said, "That is the ugliest thing I have seen in my life. If you think I am going to wear that ugly snowsuit, you're crazy." Thomas's mother said, "We will see about that." The next day, when it was time to go to school, the mother said, "Thomas, please put on your snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No." His mother jumped up and down and said, "Thomas, put on that snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No." So Thomas's mother picked up Thomas in one hand and picked up the snowsuit in the other hand, and she tried to stick them together. They had an enormous fight, and when it was done, Thomas was in his snowsuit. Thomas went off to school and hung up his snowsuit. When it was time to go outside, all the other kids jumped into their snowsuits and ran out the door. But not Thomas. The teacher looked at Thomas and said, "Thomas, please put on your snowsuit." Thomas said, "No." The teacher jumped up and down and said, "Thomas, put on that snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No." So the teacher picked up Thomas in one hand, picked up the snowsuit in the other hand, and she tried to stick them together. They had an enormous fight. And when they were done, the teacher was wearing Thomas's snowsuit, and Thomas was wearing the teacher's dress. And the teacher saw what she was wearing. She picked up Thomas in one hand and tried to get him back into his snowsuit. They had an enormous fight. When they were done, the snowsuit and the dress were tied into a great big knot on the floor, and Thomas and the teacher were in their underwear. Just then the door opened, and in walked the principal. The teacher said, "It's Thomas. He won't put on his snowsuit." The principal gave Thomas his very best principal look and said, "Thomas, put on your snowsuit." And Thomas said, "No." So the principal picked up Thomas in one hand, and he picked up the teacher in the other hand, and he tried to get them back into their clothes. When he was done, the principal was wearing the teacher's dress, the teacher was wearing the principal's suit, and Thomas was still in his underwear. Then from far out in the playground, someone yelled, "Thomas! Thomas, come and play. Thomas ran across the room, jumped into his snowsuit, got his boots on, and in 2 seconds ran out the door. The principal looked at the teacher and said, "Hey, you have on my suit. Take it off right now." And the teacher said, "Oh, no, you have on my dress. You take off my dress first." Well, they argued and argued and argued, but neither one wanted to change first. Finally, Thomas came in from recess. He looked at the principal and he looked at the teacher. Thomas picked up the principal in one hand. He picked up the teacher in the other hand. They had an enormous fight, and Thomas finally got everybody back into their clothes. The next day, the principal quit his job and moved to Arizona, where no one ever has to wear a snowsuit. The end. Thank you for joining us for more of these story times. If you have a suggestion for our next title, please let us know. Here's our email: sboggs@bell.lib.in.us. Again, this is Mr. Boggs at the Bell Memorial Public Library in Mentone, Indiana. Thank you. Be safe.